Yo, I'm pretty sure we all seen these types of numbers, right?
Or these kinds of sigils and skills.
But we're here to tell you that most of this is cap.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
Yo, what's up, squad? Team SYS here with your boy Light.
And Ishii. And today we'll be talking about the unreasonable expectations set in this game when it comes to high DPS builds and go into detail about build symmetry.
But before we get into all that, we would like to give a shout outs to Gattadohmwk for his tremendous post in Reddit, which basically breaks down a lot of the numbers that we'll be using in this video today. So without further delay, Ishii, let's get it.
All right. So let me cover some of the important points that were brought up in this post, and we'll also talk about what we've seen in this game ourselves after playing this game extensively. So, this guy opened 100,000 curios to calculate the drop rate for some of these sigils, and what he found was quite interesting. First of all, War Elemental and normal Supplementary Damage V sigils are fairly easy to find, and if you've made it to Proud mode, it wouldn't be surprising for you to have a few of these. However, Supplementary 5 Plus sigils are extremely rare. How rare, you ask? He calculated it to come out to around 0.07%, which is about 70 out of 100,000 curios. And considering that more than half of the second traits aren't very useful, the probability that you'll get a Supplementary Damage 5 Plus sigil with a good second trait is less than 0.035%.
So to put that in perspective, between Ishii and myself, we have about 500 hours clocked into the game, and we have not seen a single one.
Now, given regular gameplay, assuming you clear about 8 missions an hour, and while you have a 100% curio drop rate, that's 962 hours to get one, which is about 160 days worth of gameplay at 6 hours a day for 160 days straight. To get one single good Supplementary Damage 5 Plus sigil. Now let's say you're AFK farming curios and you somehow have a 1 minute clear, you including the load screens, while you have that 100% curio drop rate. So that comes out to 60 curios an hour, which still comes out to 128 hours worth of runs to get a single Supplementary Damage 5 Plus sigil on average. Now please note that a 1 minute clear is extremely optimistic and not very realistic, so the real number is actually far higher than that. And yet, some players out there have 3 of them, and are claiming it's just from a few casual nights of AFK farming. Now, is it possible that someone just gets obscenely lucky and grabs one early? Of course. But 3? And all with different usable substats? Now, if you believe that, then I have a bridge to sell you.
Right, and the game's only been out for 2 weeks, so no one's clocked those kind of hours just yet. But to fill the void, we are going to be providing today basically a conceptual template for builds for characters. But for context, I want to say that we're not here to judge anyone or to necessarily call anyone out. This is more so to help newer players as well as advanced players out with what's more reasonable at endgame. And to do this, myself and Ishii will be showcasing 2 builds. With Ishii's Eugen, he's going to build it from the ground up to show what's reasonable at endgame as a guy who's put 300 hours into the game. And I'm going to be showing Jita as someone that I'm moving over to as my second main. And I'm going to be showcasing her build, the symmetry and the synergy that's needed to build a character like her. I've never played her before, but this will be fun to put together. So without further delay, let's hop over there and check it out.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about the thought process I go through when I'm trying to make my build. I'm taking a fresh character here, for example, my Eugen. You'll see that his weapon, he's just using a normal Ascension weapon, isn't even maxed out yet. He only has 10 out of his 12 sigil slots. So we're going to see what we can do to min-max his DPS. So here we go. First of all, what we're going to do is I'm starting off with no sigils on. You want to first find out, because you don't know if you're capped out yet, right? If your damage cap is out yet. So you want to first kind of hit the dummy a little bit. You can do this at a boss as well, but it's easier for me to just go into dummy. I'm going to start shooting the dummy a couple times. I'm going to take note of the biggest numbers I see. Those are going to be my crit numbers. Oops. All right, so biggest numbers I'm seeing are somewhere around 15,862, I think is the biggest number I've seen. So now I'm stepping out, and I'm going to be throwing on my first DPS sigil to see if that number changes at all. So I will be going in. I'll be throwing on a single tyranny. Here we go. I'll throw a tyranny on. And then we're going back to hit the bag. We're going to find out if we have reached your cap. Obviously, you don't have to do this one at a time like I'm doing, but I'm just doing this to help maybe break it down a little bit. So as you can see, bigger numbers are getting hit. 18,800. I saw 20,000 there. So you can tell that like without any damage caps, I still hadn't hit my damage cap, so I'm still able to do more damage. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to quit out again. I'm going to throw on yet more DPS to see if I can get my DPS any higher. I'm just using 5s, for example, so that I don't have, so you guys can see that I don't have anything else getting in the way. But obviously, if you have the 5 pluses of any of these with useful second traits, that's going to always be better. You're going to want to be raising up your crit rate and crit damage and things like that as well. So, you know, all of that is going to come into the equation. But as you can see right now, he only has his attack and HP. So I already have a tier level 20 HP that's giving me plus 80 attack off the bat. But, you know, in a world where I'm 8,962 attack, it's not making too much of a difference. But either way, here we go. Now we're going to go back to the bag. We're going to start hitting him again. Let's see if we can see bigger numbers than 20,000. Saw 21,000, 22,000. So we still hadn't hit our cap yet. So that's good to know. 22,000. All right, here we go. So that's our new number. And if we're capped out, then the next tyranny we throw on, no matter how much more we try to raise our attack damage output, it shouldn't change that number, right? All right, so right now I am currently at level 33 out of 30, so I'm maxed out on tyranny. Let's see how that changes my DPS. So number to beat right now is 22,000. Let's see here. 23,000. Okay, so I'm still seeing bigger numbers than I saw before. So I still don't need any damage caps. Number-wise, 23,000 doesn't seem like a very big jump. 23,806. Okay, so possibly I may be capped out now, but we'll find out. We still got to keep throwing on more DPS. So at this point, you'll obviously have a lot of choices. You're gonna want to keep in mind also that like some of these sigils, they come with a damage cap included on them, and some of them are more obvious than others. For example, the sigils, if you use this, if you're going for straight DPS, then you might be using something like a glass cannon, right? And the thing about glass cannon, you can tell when I put it in, that included in it is a damage cap. So whatever attack plus you get from it, the damage cap will follow along with it. So it's kind of hard to tell if whether or not my damage cap is going up. So I'm going to leave that out. Be careful when you use this, because every time you get hit, you get inflicted with dizzy, and the dizziness resistance isn't going to help you with this glass cannon. So let's see here. Next one I'm going to throw on, I mean, there are a lot of options here. I mean, depending on your playstyle, you're going to obviously, overdrive assassin, break assassin. These might be good too. Let's see here. But for Eugen is a character that attacks with ranged attack. So I am going to put on concentrated fire. Concentrated fire gives me more DPS for range attacks, and everything that Eugen does is ranged. So let's see how that changes my damage. All right, here we go. So number to beat 20. Okay, so I'm still seeing bigger numbers than before. Seeing 24,000s, almost 25,000s, huh? 24,598. And I can notice that 24,598 is way more consistent than the high numbers before. And that's a big indicator to me that we're hitting the cap. But just to be sure, we will throw on another concentrated fire here to show you that no matter how much more attack I stack onto this Eugen right now, it's not going to change my DPS. Why can't I find? Oh, there you go. All right, another concentrated fire. Here we go. So another 24,598. You see we're hitting that cap. 24,598, 24,598. So yeah, that seems to be our cap right now. All right. So 24,598. Currently we're hitting caps. So now this is where you finally start putting on your damage caps. So now keep in mind that depending on what kind of weapons you use and what stage you are in the game or what character you're using, the damage cap is going to be different. So make sure you don't just take a template from some template you found and just put it on, because you might be wasting a lot of sigil slots that you could be utilizing otherwise for more damage or more survivability or whatever else that's going to help you in the game. So you'll see now that I've added one damage cap, it's going to raise my damage cap now. And I think we're still going to be capped. Okay, 29,548. So you can see that I'm hitting almost 30,000 now. So you can tell that my damage is going up. 29,548. I'm hitting those numbers consistently again. So that's my indicator that I'm probably hitting damage cap. So I am going to throw another damage cap on to yet raise my damage cap, and you'll see here that the DPS should start exceeding 30k now. So you see that we've come quite a way from where we started already off the back. Here's another damage cap. And obviously, if you have the 5 pluses for these, once again, you will be using those and trying to put in everything else as possible. But here you go. Now you see 33,109. That was 33,867. All right. So you can see that the numbers are a little bit more inconsistent, but I'm hitting 33,000 now, which means I could probably raise my DPS even further now. All right. Here we go. I'm going in again. Throwing in probably another concentrated fire. Before I do, actually, let me show you guys that what happens when I throw a war elemental in here. No, actually, wait, no, other way around. Okay, so I am going to throw on yet another concentrated fire. There we go. So I've got 2 damage caps and concentrated fire on. Alright, now we should start hitting cap. So I'm seeing 34,455, 34,455 is the biggest number. 34,449. So maybe I can go even further with this, huh? Yeah, 459 seems to be the biggest number so far. So now we're exceeding 33,000. Okay, now we're going to be adding a war elemental onto this character. There we go. We're throwing a war elemental on, and you'll see why war elemental is so clutch. Let me show you the DPS first. Alright, off the bat, you're seeing already 40k. So you can see that the numbers jumped real big, and that's exactly 1.2 times the amount of damage that it was doing before. And the reason for that is going to be because, okay, the reason why the damage went up so much right there was because with this War Elemental, it makes so that all attacks count as a superior element. So you're always attacking as the enemy's weak element. For any character, you're gonna always want to be putting on that putting on this War Elemental. This is going to help you greatly. So you want that 1.2 times damage. And then, you know, if you have it, if you're there, you're gonna want to put in character-specific sigils depending on which skills you use as well, right? Those are pretty high priority. So as far as Eugen goes, let me see here. Okay, so I don't have Eugene's character-specific sigils yet on hand, but if you do, I'll have to take a look at it. But if it seems like it's useful, if it seems like it synergizes well with the skills that you're using, then definitely make that a priority. You're going to want to try to find the ones with both of the character unique skills in them, if that's what you use. But if not, try to go for the ones with with one that you use that you would be useful for your character, plus a second trait that will also help you, like something with more DPS or something that'll help you with your survivability with whatever style you're playing in. But yeah, I hope you guys kind of see the thought process that goes behind when you're trying to test out to see if your character is actually dealing the most DPS as possible. Obviously, a lot of other things come into play here, such as your playstyle. So if you're always, if your character is agile and good at moving into the enemy's weak points, then sigils like Exploit are going to help you out a lot. Also, if you want to be a team player, you're going to want to consider putting in sigils like Linked. You're going to want to consider putting in sigils such as Linked Together, and Skilled Assault might help you as well, depending on how fast your cooldown is. So if you have extra cooldown, putting in Skilled Assault might help you to increase your skill damage, which you'll be able to use more frequently with your cooldowns and things like that. But this is all obviously, you only have a certain amount of slots, and you have many choices to choose from. So it'll depend what kind of sigils you've picked up and what kind of sigils you want to use. But I would say a high priority here would be to increase your crit rate first, and then your crit damage. Try to get some stun in there if you want to be a team player as well, because getting into that link time is going to be a lot of DPS during that time. It's some of the most DPS you do in some of the fights towards the end when the bosses are pretty agile. So you're going to want to make those openings as well. So a lot of this comes into consideration when you're making a build, and realistically trying to be as effective as possible in the end game when it comes to DPS. It's not just about purely trying to raise your attack power, but to keep all those things into consideration to build the strongest build that you can. So on that note, I would also like to point out that right here, you can see that I used damage cap 5s, concentrated fire 5s, but if you have a choice between a 5 and a 4+, the 4+s are always going to be better for you. Granted that the second trait on the 4+ is something that you want to use as well. I hope that kind of explains a little bit about what goes through my mind when I put together my build and decide which sigils I want to use for my character. And if you guys have any other suggestions, please leave a comment and let me know. If you guys have any other sigils that you like, let me know about that as well. All right.
Yo, so that's going to conclude this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and found this video informative. I know me and Ishi had a blast recording it. If this is something that you're interested in, that being conceptual theory crafting build guides, then help us out with the YouTube algorithms by commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing. We really appreciate, all the support and help. And then also on a quick note, Shout outs to Combo Rush, who won our first giveaway. That was in the Discord server. He won a Steam gift card. If you want to be considered for the 500 sub giveaway or the 1000 sub giveaway, join our Discord server. Link is in the description. Lastly, I want to say again that this is not a judgmental video or a high horse video. It's not what we're intending with this video. You can do whatever you want to do, obviously, and people are doing whatever it is they want to do. It's just more of a video about what to really expect when you're at in game, and having reasonable expectations, and not necessarily feeling that you need these particular sigils to be good. Because at the end of the day, you can have all the supplementary 5+ you want with the super duper scope build and all this other crazy stuff, but if you don't have the skill to match it, you're still going to get slapped around the map. For example, the other day I was playing with a team of people. Man, the whole squad had supplementary 5+, 3. Dudes were beefy. We went out there and they were laying all over the floor. Had to go help them up off the floor. There was no potion hoarder. There was no auto revive. There's no guts. It was just raw DPS. And it looks cute until it's not cute. So do yourself a favor by learning the symmetry and the synergy of putting a build together, not in a selfish DPS type of way, but more so where it could be a benefit to the team that you're playing with as well, because that's fun and that also looks cool. More cool than being picked up off the floor every 20 seconds. And then lastly, I think we can all agree that we're all very passionate about the game. It's a very, very great game. And we hope that they continue to update it past May. So let's keep it competitive. Let's keep it fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys out there in the hunt. Team SYS, it's your boy Light.
And Ishi, squad out.
Light work.